it's Ashley Bookishram and I'm back with another video. So today I am here to talk about some September 2020 releases that I am adding to my TBR. I know that a lot of people do their most anticipated releases. I just have so many anticipated releases for every month of this year that there's no way that I could have combined everything into just a fall and winter release type of situation. So I decided that I'm going to do it month by month. I will do one of these once a month and I will do it in the month before the books release. This actually came up when I had my live show. Someone asked me the question, what books am I anticipating? And I was like, my list is so long I couldn't even really begin to tell you. So do understand that we're going to be talking about 10 books today. That does not mean that this is my complete list for September. However, I had to find a cutting off point somewhere, somehow, because I think my original list was like 25 books. And I was like, yeah, I can't do that. So I cut it down to 10. Hopefully these are 10 that you all will be excited about. I do have some releases that a lot of people are talking about, like Grown and Legendborn and Transcendent Kingdom by Ya Jessie. I tried to pull some titles that I'm looking at from the perspective of a librarian as well as a booktuber. So some of these you may have heard of and some of these you may not have heard of. So we're just going to go ahead and jump in. The first one that I have on my list is Before the Ever After, and this is by Jacqueline Woodson, and it comes out on September 1st. This book focuses on a character by the name of ZJ, and he is adjusting to this new familiar structure that he has. His father has these random angry outbursts. He's forgetting things, and it's all attributed to the fact that his father used to be a star football player. I think that this is really going to look at the importance of family and how to adjust when family situations change, especially when you have a parent who you love and adore and care about, but they're not the same person that they were before. And I think that Woodson may do an exploration of CTE, which is a degenerative brain disease that occurs in professionals that play football and other sports where there's a lot of body contact that results in continuous head injury. I absolutely love Jacqueline Woodson. I always feel like Jacqueline Woodson could do no wrong. So I am definitely looking forward to picking this one up. I think it's fairly short, at least under 200 pages, but I just read at the Bone this year and that was under 200 pages and it knocked me completely off of my feet. The next one that I have is Lupe Wong Won't Dance, and this comes out September 8th, and this is by Donna Barber Higuera. I may be saying that one wrong. Donna is a Own Voices writer for Biracial Rep, and this book does focus on biracial representation. Our main character Lupe is Chinese and Mexican, and she's determined to be the MLB's first female pitcher. She has fought for a lot of social issues such as changing the race and ethnicity bubbles whenever you fill out any type of paperwork. And I think this is going to deal a little bit with her coming to terms with her biracial identity. Her favorite pitcher is also biracial. He's Mexican and Chinese. And I think there's going to be a little bit of her connecting with him and trying to find herself. There is a school dance that happens that deals with square dancing. And of course, I'm sure that's where the title comes from, Lupe Wong Won't Dance. So I think this is going to be cool. I think the cover is beautiful. I've never read a book where the main character is biracial in the sense that they identify as Chinese and Mexican. I am so excited to read this, and I'm looking forward to a lot of other stuff that this author has coming out in 2021 and 2022. The next one that I have here is Miss Meteor, and this comes out September 22nd, and this is by Taylor K. Mejia. I'm probably saying their last name wrong, and Anna Marie McLemore, who I have not read anything from, but I keep hearing wonderful things about their work. And this is about two friends, well, they're ex-best friends. Their names are Lita and Chicky, and Lita is wanting to enter into this Miss Meteor beauty pageant, and Chicky wants to help her because there's never been anybody that looks like them in this beauty pageant. And I think that this is going to be a coming of age story, and also a story that focuses on accepting your identity and being proud of who you are and where you come from. I've been really digging the identity type based stories that I've been reading lately, so I think that this is going to be marvelous. The next one that I have on this list is Night of the Mannequins, and this is by Stephen Graham Jones. I just finished The Only Good Indians and I thought it was a wonderful book, and I'm interested in seeing what else he has coming out in the future, as well as his backlist. And I saw that this one is coming out on the 1st and it's being published by Tor.com. I don't know if it's coming out as a physical book or if it's just going to be an ebook because it is rather short, but the only synopsis that is out there is that this is about a teen prank gone wrong, and when things go wrong you don't know if it's slasher or if it's supernatural. And I like that he's leading with this obscure type of summary, so we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. And that's how I felt when I was reading The Only Good Indians. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I ended up really enjoying it. And it also is being classified as like contemporary horror, so yes, I think I'm going to enjoy it. The next one that I have is The Seance Tea Party, and this is by Ramira Yee, and this comes out September 15th, and this is a middle grade graphic novel, and it is about a young girl whose friends just seemingly start to disappear. And at first when I read it, I was like, oh, so are her friends disappearing, like they're vanishing, as in they're disappearing off the face of the earth? And I don't know if that's where it's going, but then I thought about it and I was like, I think they're talking about this whole ideal of you're losing friends as you grow older, and that transition from thinking that you're going to have these same sets of friends forever, and that doesn't always happen. And I think that a lot of times middle grade age kids have a difficult time with that adjustment. I read one called Best Friends by Shannon Hale, and she definitely captures that so well, that transition of making new friends and losing old friends. And this young girl ends up finding a ghost in her house, and her and the ghost become really close friends. So I think that this may be an allegory for friendship, but nevertheless, I'm excited to read it. Definitely looking forward to checking out some new middle grade graphic novels that will be coming out for the rest of the year. The next one that I have on this list is one of my most anticipated releases for the entire year, and it is Three Kings by Kelly Yang. This comes out on September 15th. I can't say much about it because it is the sequel to Front Desk by Kelly Yang, which was one of my favorite books from last year. It is a middle grade book that talks a lot about immigration and racism and classism, and it focuses on Mia Tang and her family as they work at this hotel, and that's how they make their living, and the issues that come with that, and the discrimination that Mia faces at school from friends and from teachers. And you see her try to make this transition into becoming a writer, but English is not her first language, and a lot of people make assumptions based on English not being her first language, and it was tough to read in some parts, but I love this book so much. So I'm so excited when I saw that Kelly Yang was coming out with a second book and this was going to be a series. I jumped for joy. Kelly Yang also has another book but that came out, I believe, last month, and it is called Parachutes, and it's a YA book. Don't worry, I will be purchasing that. The next one that I have on this list is Ties That Tether, and this is coming out on September 29th, and this is an adult romance written by Jane Igharo. I think it may be an adult romance. There's a romance component to it, but I may be making that assumption too quickly. And it's about a woman by the name of Azir, and she makes this promise to her father that no matter what, before she goes to Canada, that she will always make sure that she keeps to her Nigerian culture and that she will marry a Nigerian man. But then of course things change, and she ends up meeting and sleeping with this man named Raphael. He's white, and at first it seems like it's going to be a one-night stand, but then it develops into something more, and then she has to contend with this whole idea of, do I choose this man or do I choose to stick by my familiar values? Because she knows that at the end of the day her mother will never accept a relationship between her and a white man. And I think this is going to be an interesting take, not only just on the idea of interracial dating, but the culture clashes that sometimes come with interracial dating, and how people manage to navigate when you have one family that's like, this isn't supposed to happen. This isn't going to happen. Culturally, this is not supposed to happen. So I'm very intrigued by this, and I wonder how this is going to kind of work out. Okay, so this next one I probably would have never known about had I not read a book from this author this year and completely fallen in love with it. And that book is going to be Each of Us a Desert, which comes out September 15th by Mark Oshiro. And of course, you all know that I read Anger is a Gift this year, and it is one of my favorites of 2020, hands down. This one is more of a fantastical book, whereas Anger is a Gift was more of a contemporary book, and it focuses on a character by the name of Zoe, and she's responsible for basically spending her life alone in the desert with only the company of the sand and the stars, telling her village's troubled stories. And her biggest wish, honestly, is to find a kindred spirit, and that does happen, and it comes in the form of a girl by the name of Amelia, and they go on this journey and they feel like they may actually be compatible partners, but then there's evil and different elements that I'm sure are going to work against them. I think that this is going to be wonderful. I cannot wait to get it. Will I be buying a copy? Of course I will be buying a copy, because I love everything about Mark. I think that this is just going to be a phenomenal book. The next one that I have is one that I actually already have an arc of, and it is Throwaway Girls by Andrea Contos. This one comes out September 1st, and it is about a character by the name of Caroline who is ready to graduate because she identifies as queer. I'm guessing there is no, in the summary, there is no clear definition of her identity. We just know that she does not identify as straight because her parents have tried to convert her. So she's ready to graduate and get out of her house, and then her best friend goes missing. And when her best friend goes missing, she of course starts to look into it, and she doesn't trust the police. But then there's this weird situation where one of the teachers at the school knows a lot about the disappearance and some other things related to her best friend. So she starts to find out that her best friend isn't the only individual that has gone missing. There are other girls that have gone missing that are not a part of their community, and they're considered to be on the bad side of town, and nobody's paying any attention to them. So I have some questions about that. I think that I have an idea of where this may go, but I'm not exactly sure. I won't know until I read it. This is her debut YA thriller. I see that some reviews have pretty much enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to stepping into this one. And the last one that I have on this list is a comic book series. There were a couple comic book series that I wanted to add on here, but goodness gracious, I feel like for comics I probably would have to make a completely separate video. But the one that I decided to add to this list is Ice Cream Man Volume 5 by W. Maxwell Prince. And this is a very weird comic book series. It's about these vignettes almost combined into one volume, and they're stories about people who encounter these weird situations, and it always happens when this ice cream man comes around. And I think the ice cream man is supposed to be indicative of some evil force at work, and you see these characters go through some really strange things, and each one from what I've read so far had been like a short story of sorts, but they all work together to create this larger picture of a narrative. I have to go back and reread them because I think I only read volumes 1, 2, and 3. So I want to go back and reread 1 through 3 and then read volume 4 in preparation for volume 5 releasing. I am so excited. I absolutely enjoyed what I had read. I was confused a little bit, but I think if I keep going, it's one of those comic series that eventually builds on itself and makes sense. And if I didn't say, I can't remember, this one does come out September 8th. All right, y'all, so that's it. Those are 10 September 2020 releases that I have added to my TBR. There are a lot more coming out that I just did not discuss. I mean, like I said before earlier, there's Transcendent Kingdom by Ya Jessie. There is Punching the Air, which E.B. Boy assisted in writing. There's When Life Gives You Mangoes. There's Vampires Never Get Old. Legendborn comes out in September. And then there's some other comics that I wanted to get into, like Chew is having like another combo like volume come out, even though the series is finished, and I was like, are you serious? It's so cool. And it's supposed to be like this Outer Darkness Chew fusion type of thing. So there's a lot that I still want to read that I just didn't discuss in this video. But down below in the comments, let me know, what is one of your most anticipated releases for September? Are you excited for any of the titles that I listed here? As always, if you're looking for ways to support my channel, be down in the description, as well as my social media. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Hit the subscribe button to see more. Bell for notification. I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'll be back with another video soon.